Hello and welcome to the show. We are here today on Forza Horizon 5 with some more multiplayer racing. For this we are using some A-Class 80s cars, and I have gone for a Nissan Skyline, the R31, my favourite generation actually of the Skylines. Not built one before on this game, I don't think. I've gone extreme tarmac build this time around. So these races, there's a series of 5 races, there are 2 off-road races and 3 tarmac races, and I have gone full tarmac spec. It is, yeah, no compromises on, it's just all tarmac with slicks, wide body kit, big tyres, rear wheel drive. On the tarmac this should be fast. If it isn't very quick on the, if we're not winning or one of the fastest cars on the track on the tarmac race, we're in trouble with this build pretty much. It should be good. That's the hope here, at least. We know it's going to suck off road. That's the compromise, is the choice I chose to make with this vehicle. Although we're taking forever to load currently into this race, I don't know why, but having a look from the cars a little bit while everyone was getting ready, there aren't many. Just as it so happens this time around, not many have gone off-road specs, so we should have some good battles. There's a few cars on semi-slicks. I don't know if anybody else is running actual full slick tyres on their car. The V8 means we've got 415 horsepower in this. It's a little over, about 3,000 pounds, I think, in terms of weight. So it's going to be down in terms of straight line speed, although I don't have aero on the car. This tends to be my preferred way to build a lot of cars these days, even in A-Class, especially with this one. It's not got a crap ton of power and big tyres. I've not bothered with aero, so we should, like, actual top end, we won't quite have the acceleration, but actual top end we should be all right on. The Forza aero is notorious on this game for really limiting top speed. The downforce it produces is great and everything, it gives you good grip in the corners, but the drag trade-off on this game is horrific. So, yeah, for me personally, I have tended to avoid it. We will see how things go though, as I'm scared of the RS200. I'm scared of how fast that thing is going to be. It doesn't have slick tyres, of course. I don't think it gets the option even to if you wanted, but yeah, all-wheel drive, something had a big slide through there. I mean, you can see the grip we have through turn 1. Now that's good, but all of our lap time has got to come through the corners, and the difficulty with that, we've actually not got a bad turn of pace. Van Der is never going to be able to outbrake us. We are going to go around the outside of everybody, in fact, here. We've got a decent turn of pace once we get going. 415 horsepower is not much in terms of A-Class. In fact, my DeLorean from the last one of these would have technically counted in this category. That's an 80s car as well, and that's running 600 horsepower as all-wheel drive. Admittedly, the DeLorean was on off-road race tyres, and of course the slicks use up a lot more PI. I was really scared of that RS200. It's got the turbo rally engine swap, which drops it down into this class, but don't think it realised I was there. But that's got no top end at all. It's all acceleration, but absolutely nothing in terms of top speed. And this, we're actually out of gears. This is a more top speedy circuit. Of the game's basic tracks, this is probably the most power-orientated one. Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. This is the most power-orientated one. Yeah, we run out of gears. Gliska goes across to defend. That is perfectly fair enough. We can have a dive to the outside. Can't make it stick. It's a good little battle, this. The Buick, the Buick's faster than both of us. We've got 2 Porsches going to come and join us if we fight too hard. Buick's faster than both of us down a straight, but of course not as good handling as either of us. Gliska might get the Buick here briefly, but is going to lose out on the exit. I've got to be careful that my fight with Gliska doesn't bring the Porsche twins into this battle. We've got to kind of shut the door a little bit now and focus, chase down that GNX if we can. Hope that the Ford on a twistier circuit is going to be a fearsome competitor here, and it'll be much better off-road. Here, doesn't quite work so well. It's now ensnared in the battle with those 911s. Yeah, we run out of gears, but thankfully we also run out of straight. What way is that Buick going to go? We're going to look around the outside at turn 1. Ambitious, but we've still got a couple of laps to go. We can try... So I can try these a little bit, but I've got to be careful because we haven't got clear track behind us. That 911 is on the charge. So, yeah, we've got to get this actually can't afford to get stuck here for too long because the Porsche will find a way past. We're going to try and pin the Buick down. I can't. Now the Porsche is going to the outside. We are going to go 3 wide into this hairpin. We're all going to crisscross, and I'm getting stuck in traffic a little bit, although the Porsche is now also getting stuck in traffic. Yeah, this is a problem for me. We've got great grip, but I'm struggling to really utilise it when there's a Buick in the way. Oh, the Porsche slid up. It's the danger of trying to go around the outside or something, is if it doesn't quite have as much grip and doesn't realise what you're trying to do, you end up getting stuck a little bit. Buick missed a checkpoint. Okay, that makes my life 10 times easier. I'd rather fight with the Porsche than that Buick. Okay, so that's really curious. We've got good top end. I run out of gears, which is the worst part. We've got really good top end over the Porsche. It might be the drag of that wide body kit. It's got better acceleration than me, probably lighter than me, might be what's making the difference. But yeah, actual top speed, it did brush the wall, I think. The actual top speed, even though I'm buzzing the limiter, well, I do have the better of it. Okay. Though we're better off the bridge. We have got better. I think that Porsche will be on semi-slicks, would be my guess. So it has a little bit more power than I do, but not as much grip. I mean, this thing is glued to the road. You can see the gap we make again, and now we haven't got any cars in our way. We haven't got a GNX. I mean, it evens out between us quite interestingly, because we get into the corner, we get out of the corner, we make a little bit of a gap, and then the Porsche reels us in. Although it's going to reel us in at an awkward point here. I can't be flat on that tighter a line, but the Porsche can't be flat on a weird line either. Yeah, it's lost as well. We can make our car very awkward to overtake to a degree here. It's just we can't slip up. If we slip up and the Porsche can get to a stage where it can just outrun us, the Porsche can get to a point where it can outrun us down a straight and do that as a really easy pass, we're in trouble because we'll have a tough time getting back through. Thankfully, that look at the final corner, although we've actually gone wide off the bridge, that is bad for me. Porsche clonked the wall, but we understeered and lost a bit of time. Yeah, the Porsche having a look at the final corner and not being able to make it work cost it enough time to make it awkward on this final lap to really do much. I tell you what, our top 4 are going to be similar in terms of lap time, I should think, and that Buick's probably not far off. The Buick will probably not work on too many other circuits. Oh, and I've made an error trying to get on the throttle too soon. The only plus point is we've got this fast corner coming up that I suspect the Porsche cannot take as fast as we can. It can't. And once we get out the other side of it, we then start pulling away. Bloody hell, that was a good race. That was a good race. We got stuck in a little bit of traffic. We're lucky for us. Unfortunate for the Buick, because I think we would have had a really tough time getting past it. I think we would have fought ourselves into oblivion slightly. Where was the Buick's lap time? Yeah, it's not quite there in terms of lap pace, but it's so difficult to pass with that much straight line speed, basically. We will claim victory. One of the 911 turbos is in second ahead of the RS200. That thing should be fast on twistier circuits. It's going to be a beast off-road, yeah. I mean, look, the good news is I built a specialist car for Tarmac. It won on the Tarmac. If it wasn't competitive here, I knew I'd be in real trouble. So, yeah, that's why the Porsche... Okay, the Porsche is an off-road race tyres, so that's why it's got all the straight-line speed and power. That's not bad in the corners, then, considering I'm on slicks. Bloody hell. We head to an off-road circuit for our next race. Probably not going to be great for me. Now, this is not, as far as the off-road circuits go in the game, this has only got a smallish dirt section. So we're not going to be as bad as we could be, pretty much. We're not going to be great here, of course. We'll be battling with the likes of the semi-slick cars and that sort of stuff. Now, no Ewan's on semi-slicks. With that 911 turbo, of course, that has an advantage of also having some big tyres. It's got a rear engine, so it's got the engine where you want it for some traction. I mean, we'll be good off the line. It will be good initially. Actually, I said it doesn't really matter because Ewan's rear engine will launch better than me. Gliska's all-wheel drive will launch better than me. And while we might be able to get past some cars here, it won't be long before we get onto the dirt. We get a good run out of that section, but now comes the dirt part where we're going to have a problem. So we're going to have to be very, very early on the brakes. And there's, this is the price we pay. Gliska's incredibly unlucky. He's got caught up with an MR2 struggling. My car is terrible here, as expected. Now Ewan's going to hold up Gliska. I think the Buick's also struggling. I don't know what tyres the Buick is on. Might be on semi-slicks and just have a bunch more power than I do. Possibly would be one way to go. Actually, I mean, let's face it, I think the Buick from stock, we've got 415 horsepower. The Buick from stock doesn't have much less than that. What do they have? 350? Something like that? 325? Not 100. Don't quote me on that one. I can't remember exactly what they have. Oh, Buick's in trouble. Oh, Buick's in trouble. It's got Ewan in trouble, and I mean, I had nowhere to go. There was just a sea of cars. I think the A-Team van up there, I think that is running on off-road race tyres as well, possibly. But it would be, if I was going to decide to run a Vandura, that would probably be the way that I would want to go with it. So, Gliska's got the RS200 up to second, and that's going chasing after the Porsche in the battle of the off-road race-tired cars. We're 3 wide. That is a sketchy place. Ewan would not have wanted to have been on the outside of that. That is not a fun area to have your car. It's me against the Buick once again. Neither of us suited to this off-road malarkey. I mean, well, the Vandura can't recover through the field. This might weirdly become a battle for a podium spot between the cars that really shouldn't be on the podium. I've got a load of understeer. Buick's got a better run through there. I would expect, although not 100% sure how it works on Horizon, the semi-slicks should be better off-road, of course, because they have some kind of grooves, if you like. So it'll be something that gives them a tiny bit more traction than my full slick tyres. But that is a theory. I don't know if Horizon does that or not. We are then... Oh, that's got a massive twitch through there. I was committing to go around the Buick, and then it got in all out of shape. We send it around the outside of the next corner, though. That's fine by me. We will try and not wander wide out of the final turn. Oh, Ewan gives us a boost. We made a mess of the final corner. Ewan tried to capitalise, sadly couldn't quite for them. Buick's to the outside now. We can defend here. Buick is not going to cut underneath us. In fact, Buick's going to slide. Ewan's looking for a way past because we're so busy fighting each other. We're slowing each other down. We've got more speed than Ewan's Porsche here. Oh, come on. The 911 is still leading the way from Gliska's RS200. I try and not slide up. Oh, not slide up into the Porsche. Ewan bounced off the wall and did that themselves. I had nothing to do with that. Couldn't have given that car much more room. I mean, there was plenty of room. Just Ewan got a slide on and pinged it off the wall. I think it was bouncing off the wall and then bouncing off me is what caused the car to spin. But you know, I can't do anything if Ewan bounces it off a wall. There's only so much room. Let's face it, we're in cars woefully unsuited to that. No one's got any grip. I've not got any grip out there either. And there was plenty of, there's probably a couple of car widths, but still, ping off the wall. It's difficult. Sometimes you as well, depending on the angle you hit it on this game, you get the back end of the car flung up into the air. Depending on the wall, can just sort of launch you up, and that can be, it could be a problem. Might have been what upset that Porsche there. I mean, if I can somehow run to third with a car on full slicks, that's a good result, because this is... I mean, I guess, okay, this is not a full dirt track, so of course it's not the worst case scenario for this. We can make up lap time when we get off of this part. The Buick is definitely much better here. Buick is way better on the dirt than I am, whatever reason. Maybe the Buick's all-wheel drive, actually. That might be a way they've gone with that one, come to think of it. Would explain it to a degree. Haven't seen the GNX launched, so that's normally a good way to tell. What is its traction like coming onto here? It's not bad. I'm trying to pin it down there again, but it's got too much speed. Now, I know it's not going to like this section here. We're just going to send the Skyline through. Yeah, make up the lap time that we can there. Try and cling on. Thankfully, the start-finish line is not too far away from the final corner, and we are good enough through the final turn. I think Ewan's Porsche is probably a little better than my car in general, that rear engine helping, but we were able to make the most of our chances. We fended off from the Buick when we had to. A bit unlucky for the Vandura, missed a checkpoint, got dropped back, and I think got stuck in battles and everything. That may well have been better suited. However, you know, I'm going to take a podium where I can get it. Oh, Yeah, those top two cars were close. They weren't close enough on track to really have a battle. Ewan's thing was flying considering the tyres on that. That's the rear engine for you. Yeah, I mean, it's a podium. We're definitely not the third fastest off-road car. But, you know, opportunities arose. We made the most of them where I could with the Skyline. We are back onto the tarmac for our next race, the Estadia circuit. My car will probably be fairly decent here, I would imagine. It's got a decent top end. It's got good grip for the fast corners. The Buick will have that. The Buick and the Porsches are scary. The Buick's got the top end. The 911's got the top end. However, when it gets to some of the fast corners, that's where they might struggle, and we can make some lap time up. The RS200 will be very quick accelerating out of the slow speed stuff. Might just lose out on top end around it. Might struggle because, for example, I can breeze past it in a straight line, although it has a good spot on the grid and can launch well. Off goes. I'm thinking maybe the red 911 is all-wheel drive swap. Might explain its off-road performance as well. Compared to that RS200. We actually need to really be braver. We definitely need to be brave through here. We need to make up as many places as we can while everyone's in ghost mode. Utilise the sneaky ghost mode when we can. Sadly, I haven't dealt with the Vandura yet. That's a problem. That puts me in an awkward spot here. In fact, actually, this track we might run out of gears. Thankfully, oh, that's not where I want to be. I've got an MR2 stuck to the inside. Oh, god damn it. We're going to have to clear the MR2 now. Yeah, we're kind of lucky. I think I changed the gearbox. Maybe I've shot on the gears too much in this, or maybe I didn't. Might have ran out of PI or something with the gearbox. It is entirely possible with this sort of build that I did. I mean, getting the engine and the tyres in this car really used up most of the PI. As I said, the engine's completely stock. That's, 415 horsepower is not all that much for A-Class. Yeah, we're going to run out of bloody gears, aren't we? We might still just be able to dive Ewan's Porsche. Well, I mean, we dove and it was a sensible dive. Ewan tried to go with us and could not hold it. Ewan just could not live with the braking performance of the Skyline. Ewan tried to be last of the late breakers, did not work. Now it comes to a battle of me chasing down Gliska's RS200. This is where we might buzz the limiter, do we? Yeah, we're basically just on the limiter, although we're lucky in that we kind of are lifting for the corners almost, like as we hit the limiter, we're having to lift for the corners. So that was a bad chicane. We need to be a little slower on the way into that. Gliska will not want to see the Skyline ranging in behind. They know how fast this car is down the straights. Sadly for them, they saw it at the festival circuit. That thing, it's got great launch off the corners. That's what the RS200 always going to be good at. It'll fire itself off the corners really well. We are going to close and close, and we should out-turn it if I'm brave enough into turn one. We've got better brakes, we've got better tyres than that car. Although it is considerably lighter than we are. That's the RS200's strength in this little battle. We've actually pulled well clear of everyone else. Here comes the speed. We're going to run out. We're going to have to go the long way round here. And that is not so easy to do. We are to the inside. Oh, Gliska's going to want to fight back. There's a little swapping of paint, but we both stay on the circuit. All is good. We get a good run on the exit. Gliska will send us to the outside. I'm fine with that. We're going to try and cut underneath. Nope. Ford's carried enough for speed. I'm not crazy fussy. I'm not so fussed about this because, well, I know that RS200 gets off this last corner well. It's such a long straight down towards the first corner. It doesn't matter. Gliska can go left, can go right. It's irrelevant because we're just going to do this. We're just going to breeze past it. So it was all about just slowing down the Ford at any parts of the circuit where it might be strong and enable us to get far enough away that we can then go and do this. And I mean, this is to be expected at this kind of track to a degree. We saw what happened on the dirt circuit. The RS200 buggered off into the distance. This is a track more suited to my car here. In fact, we have left everything else. I'm surprised how much we've left everything else. That RS200 is so much quicker than the likes of the Buick and the Porsches, etc. I know they're fighting each other a little bit. Gliska was way braver through there than I was. We'll have a look, but we'll just defend. If you want to try make that one work around the outside, might actually get it. I tell you what, that's a hell of a pass. If Biscuit can pull it off, which they do. That is a hell of a pass. Doesn't matter, because we're about to go do the same thing we did last lap around, and the start-finish line is there. Okay, I've got to be a bit braver. I can't afford to risk that one next lap. I can't afford to do that. Yeah, I was a little bit complacent there. Right, let's not be complacent with this car this time around. We definitely should be capable of... We should be capable of winning this. We should be capable of building a safety net so that I don't have to be perfect. And the chicane is always dicey in a car like this. You know, if you've got the rally tyres, if you slide a little bit wide, you'll get away with that wheel on the grass. In this, I might not. So I am a little bit more cautious with this car than perhaps I have been in some vehicles, although that's much more like Gliska's throwing it, trying to get any speed. Yeah, we just had a little bit of a poor previous lap, and I mean, it was a hell of a pass from the Ford to make it work. However, we sorted ourselves out, got ourselves clear again, and we will run and claim a victory. But we didn't have the same threat from the Porsches or the Buick that I feared we might do here. It was all about the Skyline versus the RS200. The Nissan claims a victory. That final lap should have been good as well in terms of pace. Whew. I like my Skyline, actually. This is a wonderfully nice car to drive on the tarmac, and yeah, sure enough, that final lap was a monster. The rest of the field actually pretty close. RS200, two 911s, the Buick, all in the 102s. Yeah, I like my Skyline. I like my Skyline a lot. We head to the Baja circuit next. Gonna be a bad time for a certain Skyline. We start at the back as well. Rear wheel drive, slick tyres. It's raining, just for good luck. Yeah, this will be the battle between a 911 and an RS200 somewhere very far in the distance. A Vandura might get on the podium. Depending on if anyone else has got anything. The Manta might have some half-decent tyres. Here, unlike the previous circuit when I could make a good chunk of my lap time on the tarmac, oh no, the Manta's on weird tyres. Don't know what on earth, the Manta's on weird tyres or got too much power or something, I don't know. Unlike the previous circuit where we could at least make lap time for 3/4 of a lap, here we can make lap time for none of it. We're going to be out of our comfort zone the entire way. The whole track is mud, and yeah, the likes of the 911 will be quicker. It's going to have better traction than me with that rear engine, and I don't know if anyone else is full slicks. It might be somewhere. I think there's a few cars on like street or sport. There's a few cars really struggling with grip. Like I'm on slick tyres, and I should not outturn anything, realistically speaking. So obviously there's some cars on some really quirky tyre choices. Yeah, I can only presume they're on some form of street tyre or something. I'd be surprised. It doesn't... On Horizon 5, certainly I can't. Maybe some people can, but I have not had any luck really making street or sport tyres work on anything. Kind of the extremes are the way to go, because you can put that sort of street tyre on a car, and yeah, you might get 700-800 horsepower, but you can never even get close to using it. And me with 400 horsepower on my Skyline, still got pretty good straight line speed, and then we get to a corner and my thing sticks to the road. So yeah, it really does seem to be a case of you sort of want to go for an extreme. You don't really, there's not really much point in going for something somewhere in the middle. Vintage race tyres might be the exception to that rule. They work, although they're generally used in the lower classes. We're talking C or B class, you'd probably go with those. In A class, you start getting a bit too much power for the car to be able to really handle anyway. We're not bad on here compared to that Porsche. We struggled a little bit on that acceleration zone. I was trying to use the banking there and got it wrong. Yeah, I mean, Ewan has pulled away now. We had a bad corner. We had, literally, as I said something, we then proceeded to have a couple of bad corners, and any time we had made in catching Ewan's Porsche, we then threw away. I mean, yeah, we're not great here, of course, but you can see how far ahead the RS200 and that Porsche are. They've completely gone. We have thrown it way too hard into the final turn. We'll go for a weird diagonal line and an exit, kind of very super late apex. As I said, the Vandura, we got the top three going on. In fact, I would have probably guessed the Buick in fourth. I don't know what tyres it's got, but it might be all-wheel. It might be semi-slicks and all-wheel drive or something, because that's certainly got more pace off-road than me and you, and by a fair margin. Nothing we could do about catching that car unless it makes a mistake. Oh, when it comes to the dirt portion, of course, if there were tarmac involved in this track, it'd be a different story. But yeah, out here, I can't get any traction. We can't put any of our power down. Let's say that it's not awful. It's just, yeah, the front end's not going to bite when you try to turn into a corner. You can see there the back end moves about, and well, it's not the worst thing trying to put power down. I've driven worse cars in terms of power delivery. We still can't really use too much of the power. Try to run up high there on the banking. Yeah, we're now starting just to lose a little bit of ground to that Porsche, and there's not much. Sadly, there's not much that I can do with this one. This was always going to be an incredibly tall order for my Skyline, even with the four-wheel steer. I never realised until going to start to film this Skyline had all-wheel steer. Apparently it's an incredibly rare option for the R31, but some did have all-wheel steering. I did not know that. And the one we have in Forza does indeed have rear-wheel steer. I don't know whether you'll be able to see it. I can't really spin the camera around and look at it very easily while I'm racing. But it's a cool thing. It's nice to see the cars in this game actually having a little bit of all-wheel steer. I don't know how much of a difference it makes to the vehicles in terms of in this game. In real life, I've never driven a car in real life with it. Apparently they're a bit weird to drive because they're just a little bit different compared to what you're used to. But it's quite a cool thing. I know quite a few modern cars have started bringing it back, because the 90s sort of Japanese cars, like Mitsubishi GTO and that lot, quite a few of those kind of dabbled with it, but it never really caught on. But as of late, sort of supercars are starting to bring it back. I don't know, there might be some high-end Mercedes or something that are starting to use it as well in like the E-Class, S-Class, that sort of stuff. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Not 100% sure. Not even remotely sure, although I wouldn't be surprised if they had that on there. We've just kind of trundled around this race, watched a Porsche very slightly get further into the distance. Yeah, I mean, we kind of stabilised the gap. It's just we're maybe losing a few tenths here and there to the Porsche, just we're never going to catch it. Damn it, we didn't even get it. We dumped out of it as well. That's how far back we were from those top two. We were fifth, and we were that far back that we didn't get sixth. Sorry, we didn't get to finish. Yeah, lap time, half a second between me and the Porsche. Turbo would take victory over that RS200. God, yeah, we were a long way back there. But Vandura gets on the podium though, so that's something. Well, we head to a rather technical... Ooh, that's a nice place on the grid for me. Rather technical city circuit. Oh, god damn it. Why did the really fast cars have to start with us? Well, I guess it's going to make it an exciting race at the end of the day, which is also important. While it's always fun to win and run away from the pack, we will have to be overtaking stuff, because the 911 will pass us before turn one. In fact, both the Porsches might. Gliska will. The Buick won't like this track too much. I think that's going to run out of... It's got the power, but it won't have the grip to live here. The RS200 is the big threat, I think, to me, because it will launch quick, and it handles, we saw it at the start of your circuit, handles way better than the Porsches. Ewan doesn't start fast enough, actually, to challenge us. The Vandura, I mean, it might be a fast-starting vehicle, but it will not go around these corners like the Porsches and RS200s of this world. We might be able to get past before Ghost Mode ends, which would be helpful if we can. The RS200, oh, we do not want to be... So I hate going to the inside at that corner, because if things go wrong, you get pushed into the indestructible bollard. And on lap one, I do not want to make my way into that horrible bollard. Oh, clocked the wall. That was annoying. Okay, Porsche thought about having a go. It's actually changed his mind. Oh, I thought he backed out of it, and then actually then... So, Yeah, okay. There was a little bit of miscommunication. I thought the Porsche was backing out of it, so I stopped defending a bit, and then I think that encouraged the Porsche to then go and have a go. So we sort of made a little bit of a mess of that one. We've got a fair bit of understeer going on through here. Now this is where just the sheer lightness of that Ford might be good for it, because I can't use my top end. My straight line speed is not quite enough really around here, that even though that Ford does not have slick tyres, it might be able to actually accelerate. I don't know if I've got an answer to it here, you know. I don't think I do. I think it's so light and so fast accelerating. This is where we can reel it in up the hill. We can gain some ground. Oh, bloody hell. I think the RS200 is on the rally tyres. The red 911 is on the off-road race. Ewan's on semi-slicks. So we've got all different types of tyre in this one. All the different combinations are going on, and all of our cars are strong in different places. And the lightness of the RS200 is actually beating the tyre compound at the moment. The lightness, I guess the lightness and the kind of traction off of these corners with that all-wheel drive launch is, yeah, giving the RS200 a good shout here. I don't think I have an answer to it, really, barring a mistake from Gliska, which it would have to be a decent sized one, because we've now fought up with, we've made a mistake into the final corner, we've overdriven that one. Yeah, I'm driving the absolute wheels off this Skyline dash, probably trying to find a way to make some lap time, but we do not have the grip. We cannot quite carry the quarter speed. And this is the one track where, you know, Forza Aero would have been helpful. Would have given us even more turn-in with this car. Oh, bloody hell. But, of course, if we had gone Forza Aero, the straight line speed that we enjoyed at the Estadia circuit and the festival circuit, that wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't, you know, it would have been not as good there. So it's always the trade-off with when you build the cars. Yeah, I cannot catch the RS200. It's not really dropping us very much. If I don't make any mistakes, it doesn't really drop us. Now, Gliska made a little mistake out of the final corner, so we can kind of keep the pressure up. If anything goes wrong for the Ford in this final lap, we will be there to pounce. But yeah, you can see I can't carry. I actually legit cannot carry the same speed through the corner as that Ford. It's got some serious corner grip. Oh dear. We will barrel down the hill for the final time. Well, I tried. I threw everything at that little RS200, but it was not enough. And as good as we are up the hill with all of our power, we are not able to catch the Ford. Gliska shall take a victory. We will have to settle for a second place. I think we could have run an infinite number of laps there, and we would have probably ended up doing about the same thing. I mean, yeah, it was a fun chase. Oh, lap times were very... Actually, we got fastest. I'm surprised we got fastest lap, actually. I thought it was going to be a couple of tenths in favour of the RS200. But, I mean, you know, you're only talking a tenth. Very difficult to close in all of that. Ewan was not that far off in terms of the lap pace either. I mean, it was really the battle we expected. The RS200, the Skyline, and the two Porsches. It did go the way of Gliska this time out. I'm pleased with this Skyline, though. This is a nice car to drive. Yeah, I know I went the extreme handling route, so of course had better top speed than I expected. Had more top speed than the gears were going to allow it. More top speed than I expected it to, which is always a pleasant surprise. That's why I tend to go this route without the Forza Aero, of course. I like that route. I'll take a $250,000. Not too bad. Well, there we go. That is going to be it for this video. If you would like to sign up to take part in the next one of these, you can via our Discord. There'll be a link in the description. Find the versus the community section, and you can register to take part in there. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.